My name is Caitlin Foden. I'm 20 and I live in Cromer. I would broadly define myself as very creative. I love doing photography. I love making art. I'm a very social person and that is a big part of my identity. After high school, I decided to attend a local college and I went off to do A-levels. And post A-levels, I really didn't know what to do with my life, and the logical solution to me was to take a gap year, which I'm very glad I did do, and I've actually ended up taking 2 years out. I realised that taking a gap year was definitely the right decision for me because there wasn't a course that was really grabbing me. I think it's so important to find exactly what is right for you, and if you're not excited by going on to do this thing, it's not right for you. I think a lot of the time there is this kind of idea that if you take a gap year, you're going to be funded by mum and dad to go and lie around on a beach somewhere. I did actually end up working, and I have an amazing team of colleagues. They taught me so much about myself, and actually I'm really glad that I spent at least the first half just working, but I also did a lot of community projects as well, and if you don't have much money and want to do a gap year, that is a really good way of getting experience, you know, working with local museums, working with the radio, and activism as well. And then in my second part of my gap year, because obviously it was a 2-year gap, I went to Japan, amazing country, incredible. I had the most wonderful experience, and I also did a series of smaller trips throughout Europe as well. Travelling alone as a woman, it's very interesting when you talk about it to certain people, because some people are very, very afraid for you. They don't want you to travel alone. They're a bit cautious. They maybe look at you and go, oh, well, you can fend somebody off. The fact is that most people you meet are lovely, and 90% of the time I felt very, very safe when I was travelling. I think there's still a perception that you have to take a friend with you if you want to travel, but for me that was never going to be an option. I find that I meet people better when I'm on my own because I'm forced to talk to them and I'm forced out of my comfort zone. I think it's really important, if you feel able to really push yourself out of that comfort zone you have, because it will pay off, and like I say, 90% of the time, 99% of the time, there will be a positive impact on you and you will meet the most amazing, wonderful people. I think back to how I was at the end of my A-levels and how I am now, and the amount of skills I've picked up, and a lot of them are ones that you can't put on paper, as it were. They're things like sort of social skills and being able to interact with people from different cultures. I think people overlook that sometimes, but being able to talk to somebody who has an entirely different culture to you is such an interesting experience, but it's one that I think a lot of people are quite afraid of. If you're worried that you don't know yourself, the best thing I can say is to throw yourself into a totally alien culture and just sit there and see how you feel, because all of your cultural background is taken away and it's just you in a totally new environment presenting yourself to the world, and it sounds terrifying, but it will teach you so much about yourself. So what's next for me? I'm very lucky to have applied rather haphazardly for SOAS, which is the School of Oriental and African Studies in London. It's a really tiny university, but it specialises in a lot of the things I'm interested in Asian culture particularly. So I'm really excited to be going on to do world philosophies there. It's hard for me to think of exactly what influenced me to go. I was just spellbound with the range of courses and the amount of stuff that they did in areas that interested me. I'm not interested in ideas that are particularly Eurocentric. So I applied, I didn't think much of it, but I got in and I'm still amazed. I'm not sure what will happen come September, but I am so excited. In terms of advice for anyone who is thinking about their future right now, my advice is to ignore pressure from other people when you really aren't interested in something. There's a difference between pushing yourself and going on to do great things and pushing yourself for something that actually you're not excited by. If you aren't interested in university and you just want to go on and work in a shop for a bit, get a bit of life experience, that is perfectly wonderful and just as valid as somebody going on to do, I don't know, become a doctor or something like that. You've got to do what makes you happy.